Hello and welcome to the next bit of GM advice I'm going to be spinning out there into the interwebs for who knows who's going to actually make use of. I hope that some of you do and help some of you find it useful. One of the constant newer GM mistakes, well, they're not mistakes, let's call them learning processes that they go through is trying to figure out how strong or weak they should make their opposition. For your standard runner who is somewhere in the 12 to 14 dice pool, the thing they are good at, I like to use your rule of 12. This is as simple as everybody has 12 dice for everything they do, up to plus or minus 4, depending upon how hard the opposition is supposed to be for your runners. There's a lot of things that can go into this. The most basic of which is use tropes and cliches to determine what is really going to kind of go on. The security guard who is feet up, lazy laying back. He is going to be on the much lower side of this plus minus 4 um, to watch his security cameras or to check to hear that his door is opening. The overworked, super crazied out uh, middle manager is going to be on the plus 4 side of resisting con and other social subversions to that are in opposition of the things that he wants. So there's a lot of different ways you can use it. The easiest, I should say, I should stop using the word easy. The most prevalent way is usually through combat because you don't want to try to remember. Okay, Mook number one had 10 dice. Mook number two had 8 dice. Mook number three had whatever dice. That is a lot of bookkeeping, and that doesn't really add anything to the game outside of GM headache and slowness. So not having stats for your gangers, your housewife, your varied people out there who you don't probably have actual character sheets built up for. The rule of 12 is a good way to suddenly get those people going and keep your game flow moving. The main thing is it's not important how you get up to the dice pool that you assign these people. It doesn't matter if Steve the security guard has an agility of 3, is an adept with improved physical attribute agility 2, 3 in his skill, a laser sight, and a semi-automatic specialization for his pistols. That still gives him 11 shooting dice. Or maybe Steve has gone under a little bit of the knife to improve his production as part of a promotion, maybe. So he's, agility 4, muscle replacement 1. He's better trained, so he has a skill of 4 and a smart implanted smart link for 11 shooting dice. What matters is Steve has 11 dice to shoot you. Doesn't matter how he gets there. Similarly, uh, the middle manager who has some social skills, he probably has about 12. Maybe not necessarily tailored pheromones, but he definitely has a decent charisma to get to that aspect of his job. And he has had a lot of experience negotiating contracts and sniffing out the lies and subversions within said contracts. So he probably has something in the area of 10 to 14 dice for social things. The person who is, executive manager, he's going to have a lot more dice. He's going to be up in the 16 range. There, it helps to keep things moving, which I know I already said, and I know I'm not actually moving. The 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 baseline where I use 12 most times will depend upon the power level of the game. It is possible to easily come out of character generation for 20 dice in a lot of different things. So in those situations, maybe move your rule of 12 up into like a rule of 16. This way, most of the times your runners will still be successful because they have a little bit of an edge on the dice pool. But at the same time, they're not just walking all over your average people. The subdivisions of this are I usually give about 9 dice for uh, reaction intuition tests, be it surprise or dodging or something along those lines. The average person, your average human, is threes across the board. So that's a reaction 3, intuition 3 for 6 dice. The other 3 dice can easily come from other situational modifiers. Uh, the least of which in a combat situation is taking cover. That's two more dice right there. Maybe he's taken a little bit of cram or something along those lines to keep himself alert. That's an extra reaction dice. The other nice thing, if it is intended to be a combat situation, your gangers are going to be probably have taken some cram. It lasts for hours and it provides a nice steady even buds throughout their day. They don't really care what it's doing to their body. They just know that it's fun. It feels good. So that will quickly turn your threes across the board ganger into 4 reaction, 3 intuition, and plus 2d6 initiative. That's suddenly way more dangerous to a a not exactly combat spec out runner, but still kind of falls to the guy who's rolling plus 2 or 3d6. Um, sorry, plus 3 or 4d6. I have to spell that. The That can be tweaked a little bit more, and as he's a ganger, he's a little bit more street smart than book smart. So maybe he has a higher intuition. Maybe he is intuition 4, reaction 3. That cram will make him reaction 4, intuition 4. Now he's 8 plus 2d6. That's way more respect. This will, depend once again, as I say a lot of times, on the power level of your game. If you're playing a street themed game where you don't have access to all these crazy augmentations to give your street samurai and such way more initiative dice, then you just don't give that guy cram, and now he's got 7 plus 1d6. That's a 50% shot of 2 initiative passes. That's pretty good for a normal dude. Um, Moving into soak, I usually roll about 20 soak for my before modifications for most of my bad guys. Granted, orcs and trolls will probably have a couple of points higher, but that is body 3 will get you 3. A armor jacket, which is really easy to come across and can be easily fluffed uh, as a reinforced vest underneath a security suit for a corpsec guy, or just an armor jacket for a ganger. That's 12. That brings you to 15. A helmet of some kind is 2 more, which uh, your motorcycle cop probably wearing a helmet because it's going to have all kinds of vision and auditory devices in it to feed information back to KE headquarters about what is going on. Your corpsec guy behind the counter will probably have something similar, or maybe not. Kind of depends upon what your idea is. Maybe instead of that helmet, maybe he's actually had some orthoskin done to repair damage from a horrible chemical reaction that happened the last time runners gassed the place out. Maybe he had an allergy that scarred up his skin. So rather than go through the stages of replacing that guy, the corp just paid for some orthoskin replacements. Now he's got a little bit of extra armor from that. Maybe he had his skull crushed in and now has some titanium bones or aluminum bones in there. Same thing from the corp. That'll get him up into the 20 range pretty easily. Things like PPP kits are easy to find, and gangers will definitely have access to that kind of stuff. The more fancy corpse set guys, they could use gel packs in their clothes, but nicer gel packs that are more hidden by company flair or on a suit of gear underneath their outward appearance to reduce that gel packy look. So now you have your 20-ish soak dice, you have your 12-ish dice in doing things, and you have your 9-ish dice in not having bad things done to you. And for the most part, you don't need to worry about the intricate things, stuff like automotive mechanic. Well, my security guard probably has a bit of piloting skill, but that doesn't mean he knows necessarily how to do much more than drive the car and respond to some of the that idiot light has turned on my car again. I wonder what's going wrong. I better take it in to get it serviced. Your your ganger guy, he might have a couple of points of automotive mechanic from having to fix this car or used in stealing tires and putting things up on blocks. Um, but for the most part, their actual skill list doesn't matter. Their gear list, that also doesn't really matter. The Ares Predator 5 is the most common handgun on the market. You really only need to worry about remembering that damage code. It is 8p, AP -1, 15 shots, comes with a smart link. So you can tweak it, make it 6 stun electrical AP -5, and now those guns are loaded with stick and shock. You don't have to go back into your book to look things up. A a shotgun, pick one that you think they would use fairly often. I'm a big fan of the Defiance short barrel because it automatically is a little bit more maneuverable. It is something that will also really fit the gangers pretty well because they're going to want that short barrel to go underneath their coats when they're going in to rough a place up for money. Stuff like assault rifles and are SMGs are probably okay for some of the higher security area people to have access to. Assault rifles are going to be the kind of thing that's usually left in your standard patrol car, who, if things start to go crazy, they might pull the assault rifle out, be good to go to town. But an AK-98 is 10p AP -2, full auto capable, that kind of stuff. Really easy to just get some of those base numbers in your mind. You don't need to worry about their entire character sheet. You have a shooting dice pool, you have a not get shot dice pool, you have a soak pool, and you have a damage code for their gun. You don't need a whole lot more. Um, Magical opposition, which I know I'm going a little deep on this, don't really need a full spell list for them. Give them whatever spell is appropriate. You can't really uh, pre-research all of the spells that a person knows. You can get some ideas out of the various knowledge skills like security procedures. Like your security mages will probably know heal and an offensive physical damaging spell and an offensive stun damaging spell, and maybe a couple of utility spells, probably invisibility, probably something like that. And we'll probably have a spirit or two bound. But at the same time, if your runners aren't really magically inclined, the Johnson knows this, and he's not going to send them up against magical opposition when they hire them for the job. So maybe that mate doesn't actually have spirits bound. Maybe he used them up, or something. Maybe he's just an aspected mage and doesn't have the capability to summon spirits. I mean, that sucks for him, but that is, he could still find gainful employment as a spell slinger on a rapid response team. Full on high threat response team, this does not apply. It is a situation when HDR is on site that I'm going to have to make an entire video on, because HTR is usually a cheetah situation. There is an old saying that when you and a friend are being chased by a cheetah, you don't have to be faster than the cheetah, you have to be faster than your friend. So when HTR gets involved, you don't necessarily you should not fight them, first of all. And in the actual HTR video, I'll get in and talk to them about HTR and why fighting them is a loss. But when you scatter, you don't necessarily have to be the fastest. You just have to be faster than your decker who's left in the van and nobody told things have gone horribly wrong. That's something for your team to figure out the social ramifications of that. But that is down the line. I could also easily recommend getting a pack of 3x5 index cards to write out some of the weapon stats on, and maybe some of the ammo modifications that they have available to them, so that you're able to quickly come up with the more difficult part of this, which is the weapon attributes. Your things like the dice pools, we just discussed how we can easily make that available to you. Just real quick, boom, 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 good to go, ready to roll into combat. And if you forget them from round to round, don't get hung up on it. There's all kinds of things that can affect them. For example, if you have this guy shooting at 10 for the first round, and the next round he's shooting at 12, well, so shooting is a simple action. So he shot, took aim. Next round he took aim, shot. That it gives him +2 dice. Or maybe he is distracted because he's having a conversation with somebody in AR as he calls for security and is reporting on them. So instead of shooting at 10, he's shooting at 8. He's got that AR distraction going on. Other things like that is really easy to kind of go. And in a full-on combat situation, your PCs probably aren't going to be paying that much attention to the unnamed mooks dice pools as they shoot at things. Um, a secondary thing is I don't usually track individual physical and stun tracks. The book recommends that you don't do that, but I don't actually track alongside their how many boxes they have. So Steve, the security guard, when he is shot, I will remember in my mind of he was hurt a little bit, he was hurt a moderate bit, or he was hurt a lot. And from there will depend upon what happens next time. So if he was hurt a lot, and the next time he shot it, he gets hurt a good amount, he's down and out. If he gets shot a little bit and a little bit and then a little bit, that might take him out. Or some mix in there, or like two moderate amounts of damage, keeps you from having to worry about things like wound penalties and uh, how close somebody actually is to death. No, I shouldn't say death. I should say unconsciousness or being disabled. It keeps you from doing a lot of bookkeeping. Um, I'm not. This is on the more on the shorter side video because it's. I like to think an easy concept to put out there. Maybe not exactly be the easiest to get into the practice of using. Your your big bad guys and your important guys, by all means, make actual sheets and notations and that kind of stuff for them. Think about the things that they would have access to and stat them out in a more complete fashion. But for your mooks and your random people that you weren't really prepared for them to for your PCs to get involved in, this is a quick and dirty way to get that handled. The full notes that I talked about here will be in the video description down below. I look forward to hearing if you guys have any comments on the subject or if there are other ways that you guys have done things of similar ways with your own personal home games. Thank you very much, and I will talk to you later.